Heads of departments. As soon as we have it, we will recognize you. But please, Dean Faculty of Culture, Osun State University, Professor Olatunji Felix, please, let's see your face. You are welcome, sir. heads of our various departments in the Faculty of Art and Social Sciences. I'm starting from the head of English and Literary Studies, Professor Prince Niyi Osunbade. You are welcome, sir. We have the HOD of History, our very distinguished Professor Abdul Wahab Tijani. Heads of Sociology Department, Dr. Phillips. Head of Philosophy, Professor Abolis. You are welcome, sir. We have Head of Political Science, Dr. Olipede. Head of Psychology, Dr. Borwa. We have Head Generals, distinguished Professor Olopede. And the Head of the Master International, Dr. Lando. We have Head of so that we can start this program again. As it is, take over my place for the team of Professor Fine.
Good afternoon, Mr. Vice Chancellor, ably represented by Professor Honorable Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academics and Innovation, University Librarian, ably represented by Deputy Librarian, Mr. Yetola. Our living ancestor, Professor Ele Afolabi, welcome, sir. The head of the Department of History, from where the presenter is resident, Professor Wahab Tijani, welcome, sir. Distinguished professors in the house, I welcome every one of us. Heads of the Department of the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, I welcome you all. Distinguished colleagues from other departments and heads of units, heads of departments of other departments, the non-teaching staff that are here, I respectfully welcome all of you. And other staff of the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. Students of Ladoke Akintola University of Technology that are here, I welcome you. And especially students of the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. I welcome you all. This is the youngest and the largest university. I respectfully I don't want to be sacked. I just remember that a council member is sitting in our midst. Distinguished Professor Adenike Ayowade, we are welcome. Respectfully, the team Faculty of Management Sciences, my sister, my one and only sister, I humbly welcome you. Good to see you. Directors and heads of units of the university, I can see Professor Shafa, Professor Bello, Professor Adelushi, Professor Ewo, and a host of all the professors, my good friend, Professor Tobi here. I welcome you all with support and understanding. And professors of my clinic, I can see the deputy provost and our friend. I welcome you all. This is the sixth of the series of faculty lecture of Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. The idea of the faculty lecture series is to look at topical issues within the humanities and allied disciplines that can be subjected to intellectual engagement for many of us and in the system, so that we see the other aspects of what life is, not everything about engineering, technology, agric science, environment, and all that. There are enough issues that are bothering us that we need to attend to. That is why we have introduced this topic by the distinguished Professor Kim Oladiti, giving us a lecture today on clash of civilization, culture, religion, and modernity. We will do a kind of intersection, policy intersection on how these things are being major problems in our society. I want to encourage every one of us to relax, listen, and after the lecture, we will engage in one or two things and we know what to take note of them. Before I leave, sir, we gave Osun State University some loan. The Dean of Faculty of Culture, Osun State University here, although it's unknown to Osun State, stand up for the recognition. Professor Ellis Latin. We also have somebody who has been unknown to Ekiti State University for quite some time, the head of the Department of Peace Studies in Ekiti State University, Dr. The system is so large that we loan them, when we have used them, we have loaned them, we loan them to other people. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I respectfully want to thank you for the audience and pray that God listen attentively to the lecture. Thank you, sir.
Vice Chancellor, please permit me to officially recognize the presence of the head of economics, Dr. Abiy, the affairs, library and information sciences, Dr. Amola, head of general studies, Dr. Yikola. I'm glad that the team has assisted to recognize the council member. I was already thinking of how I was going to use my salary for the month. You are welcome. At this point, we need to recognize a very distinguished source of mine, and I mean representatives of this university, Secretary to the Board of Local and Distant Level, who came in to represent the registrar of the university, Mr. Victor Shola. I'm going to recognize the head of the Nanotech Research Group out there, Professor Badina Tisi. You are welcome, sir. I'd also like to inform us that we have the head of linkages of the university, international linkages, Professor Taufik Adelushi. Please welcome him for the recognition. At this time, many businesses to grow. And now the point where the Vice Chancellor will address us, then go ahead to declare this very important occasion for us so that we can know that we have a legitimate assignment about Professor Arabis.
Good afternoon. Our Vice Chancellor, Professor Lasaki, is unavoidably absent because of the contract assignments that is implemented. This is I want to read a common address on the Many Vice Chancellor address on the 6th Faculty Lecture Series of Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, Ladoke Akintola University of the member of council in attendance, Professor Mrs. Alade, welcome. The registrar, ably represented by Mr. Victor Alade, and the bossa, in absentia, and the Liberia University represented by Mr. Tolan. The days of the faculty, Professor Frank individual. Other days in attendance, professors, colleagues and other faculties. Dear students, designated listeners, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to today's faculty lecture titled Class of Civilizations, Culture, Religion, and Modernity. This Sunday and the thought-provoking topic is highly relevant in our interconnected world, where cultural and religious differences intersect in complex ways with forces of modernity. As we gather here today, we are reminded of the enduring importance of exploring and understanding the dynamics that shape human civilizations. Today's lectures seeks to deepen our reflection on the diversity of cultural and religious orientations, particularly the interplay between the foreign religions of Islam and Christianity and the enduring presence of African indigenous belief systems that shape Nigerian society. I would like to express my profound gratitude to the Dean Faculty of Art and Social Sciences for making this event possible, and to our distinguished speaker, Professor Abiodun Akin, who graciously agreed to share his expertise and insights on this critical subject. I am confident that this lecture will spark meaningful discussions and thoughtful intellectual debates, just like the earlier ones in the faculty. I invite all of you to engage in the lecture fully and allow the discussion to inspire you in deeper commitment to cultural as well as religious understanding and tolerance in this modern world. Once again, I welcome you to this lecture as Secretary and Hope. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for making that short, loaded event. While the Vice was moving his address, the golden fish that can never be in one day seed, but the good works that are good deeds for louder. One serving 10 Government Council of its university, not our distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please just welcome the Dean of Environmental Sciences, Professor Margaret. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for so wonderful well for us in London. That is why we appreciate every member of that council. It is good that we are a member of the 11 tribes of the city close to Professor Adeyemo, so that we learn how the magic was done. Thank you so much. Now we want to get introduced to the lecture of today. We listen to his citation to be presented by Dr. Sheila Akitaro.
The Vice Chancellor, at this juncture, permit me to read through the citation of Professor Abiodun Akin Oladiti. Professor Abiodun Akin Oladiti is a distinguished academic and scholar in the field of social and cultural history. He is a professor in the Department of History, Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences at Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, LAUTECH, Ogbomoso. He earned his Bachelor of Arts, Masters of Arts, and Doctor of Philosophy in Business History and African History from the prestigious University of Oxford. Throughout his academic career, Professor Oladiti has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to teaching and research. He has served in various important administrative and academic capacities within LAUTECH. Notably, he was the acting head of the Department of General Studies from 2015 to 2017. He was a member of LAUTECH Annual Report Committee between 2012 and 2014. Professor Oladiti is currently serving as the chairman of the University Academic Lecture Committee, where he plays a significant role in enhancing academic discourse and intellectual engagement within the university. Professor Akin Oladiti is an erudite and prolific scholar with an impressive body of work that includes over 40 publications on reputable national and international academic journals. His research interests cut across multiple themes such as popular culture, identity politics, governance, Islamic literacy, and religious and social movements of West Africa. He has also authored and co-authored several impactful books and scholarly contributions. Some of his notable works include Justice and the Threshold of Culture, a comparative study between Yoruba and Islamic legal system. Themes on legal history in the works of Akin Alawo. He is also the author of the book Exploring the Historical Impact of Colonialism on Indigenous Religious Rights in Nigeria. In addition to his publications, Professor Oladiti has presented numerous academic papers at postdoc international conferences, gaining recognition for his scholarly insights and methodological rigor. He has taught and mentored countless undergraduate and postgraduate students, many of whom have gone on to excel in their academic and professional pursuits. Moreover, he has served as an academic assessor and external examiner for sister institutions across Nigeria. contributing to the strengthening of academic standards beyond his own university. Professor Akim Oladiti relentless pursuit of academic excellence and his contributions to historical research and humanistic scholarship have earned him several prestigious opportunities. Notably, he was selected to participate in the methodological training workshops for scholars in sub-Saharan Africa and Asia, organized by the Council for the Development of Social Science Research in Africa, held in Dakar, Senegal, in 2006. He also presented a paper at the International Conference of Popular Culture in Africa, hosted by the University of Texas at Austin in the United States of America. Further attesting to his scholarly reputation, Professor Oladiti was selected to participate in the extended workshop on social history with themes focusing on gender, ethnicity, and culture. This program was jointly sponsored by the South-South Exchange Program on the History of Development, Civics, and Pedestrian, reflecting the global recognition of his intellectual contributions. Professor Oladiti continues to be a beacon of academic excellence and a respected authority in African history, offering significant insights into the social and cultural transformations that shape the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Akim Oladiti is happily married to Mrs. Aderoke Kaplat Oladiti, and the marriage is blessed with children. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I only present to you Professor Abiodun Akim Oladiti.
Represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Education, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Strategy and Development, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Innovation, the Registrar, the Bursar, the University Librarian, the Chairman Committee of Deputy Vice Chancellor, Post and Deans, the Dean, Faculty of Arts and Social Science, the Dean of Postgraduate School, the Deans of other faculties, professors, directors of units, colleagues within and from outside other faculties, dear students, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is with immense joy and a deep sense of responsibility that I stand before you today, entrusted by the leadership of our esteemed faculty to deliver this lecture on behalf of the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. This initiative by the faculty has not only redefined our purpose and focus as scholars within the Department of General Studies, but it has also reinforced our collective mission within the newly established Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. The purpose of this lecture is to share some of my reflections on the disciplines of history and to explore how historians craft and represent their ideas, ultimately contributing to knowledge and the society at large. It is therefore a great honor for me to present the 6th edition of the Faculty of Arts and Social Science Lecture Series. This prestigious lecture series has been graced by distinguished scholars before me. The inaugural lecture was delivered by Professor Ebijua. This is followed by Professor A. Tijani, Professor Adejimo, Professor Obi Laoyi, the pioneer head of the Department of General Studies, as well as Professor A.O. Oshimade. It is truly a privilege to follow in their footsteps and contribute to this tradition of academic excellence. It is with great pleasure that I inform this esteemed audience that today's lecture marks the second from the Department of History. Numerologically, the number 6 holds deep significance, representing universal human needs that transcend time, place, and culture. This fundamental aspect of human existence includes the struggle for survival, the need for social organization, the desire for stability and protection, the pursuit of knowledge and learning, and the urge for self-expression, and the search for religious identity and spiritual fulfillment. My excitement in delivering today's lecture is further amplified by by the realization that I am upholding the esteemed tradition of my predecessors, contributing to the ongoing legacy of historical scholarship and discourse. History is the collective memory of human experiences, shaping our understanding of who we are. If we forget or ignore it, we lose a vital part of our humanity. Without history, we are left in a state of collective amnesia, struggling to define our identity. It is through the recorded events that we inherit the emotions, values, and ideals that give life meaning. History provides us with a sense of purpose, a foundation for progress, and a reason to strive for a better future. Historical events have created all the basic groupings, countries, religions, classes, and all loyalties that attach to this. This implies that the discipline of history is an essential memory of experience shared by human groups that should be remembered or ignored. Without the knowledge of the past, little will be known about the achievements of people in the annals of human ingenuity. It is the knowledge generated through the study of history that has generated all the ideas of scientific breakthroughs in the field of medicine, computer science, engineering, pharmacy, and telecommunications. All these have assisted in making life meaningful and a wonderful place to live. To fully grasp the essence of this lecture, it is essential to understand its foundation in historical analysis and interpretation. The focus is on how human societies interact based on shared beliefs, traditions, languages, customary practices, and moral codes, particularly among diverse ethnic groups and social structures. It explored how historical conflicts, especially those rooted in cultural and religious differences, have been understood and interpreted over time. The phrase "clash of civilization" gained prominence through Samuel Huntington, who argued that the post-Cold War conflicts are primarily driven by cultural and religious identities, rather than ideological division. This perspective highlights the tensions and conflicts that arise when people of different religions come to contact with foreign religious beliefs and educational systems. In this lecture, the concept is operationalized. The concept of clash of civilization is operationalized to examine the traditions, values, and customs of the Nigerian people and their encounters with dominant foreign influences of Western and Islamic education in particular, and how it has imposed its cultural systems and values in the Nigerian society. The study also further explores how certain Nigerian ethnic groups have resisted these foreign ideological influences and examines how cultural communities have responded to the movement, advocating change, modernization, and globalization. Lastly, the lecture delves into the role of historians in shaping narratives and practicing historians both as a discipline and as a vocation. It underscores that when civilizations clash, the conflict is deeply intertwined with culture, encompassing ways of life, religion, moral codes, and belief systems and modalities, which includes education and social transformation. The term "clash of civilization" as proposed by Samuel Huntington in his seminal work, he used the concept to explain global conflict in the post-Cold War era up to 1991 to present. This theory suggests that ideological and cultural civilizational identities drive global conflict. During the Cold War, geopolitical tensions primarily revolved around the rivalry between the Soviet Union along with its allies as well as the United States. This period is a period of intense ideological struggle officially ended with the dissolution of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic on December 26, 1991. Now, the Cold War period was a period commonly described as a period of clash of civilization because it was a period that brought about the Cold War. That's the Cold War is a period that brought about differences in ideological differences. The US preaches capitalism while the Russian people, that's the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, are of the opinion that socialism is the best system of government and social system. So as a result, there were clash of civilization in this regard. The concept of clash of civilization is defined to encompass the practices, values, traditions, and customs of different societal groups. It explores our encounters with foreign religions and education, including Islam, Christianity, and Islamic education. Western education and modernity have shaped and influenced this culture, often leading to tensions, resistance, and transformation. Throughout human history, civilization has provided mankind with the broadest identification of people with their heritage. The idea of civilization was developed in the 18th century by French thinkers as the opposite concept of barbarism. Civilized society differed from primitive society because it was settled, urban, and illiterate. To be civilized was good, but to be uncivilized was bad. Therefore, the influence from the concept of civilization provides a standard by which we assess societies on whether they are good or bad. In the 19th century, Eurocentric scholars developed criteria to adjudge civilized and uncivilized societies. These criteria include technology, knowledge, morality, values, intellectual, artistic tradition, urbanization, and religion. In other words, what constitutes the highest cultural grouping of people and the broadest level of cultural identity, which distinguishes humans from other species of living organisms like plants. Civilization is defined as elements of language, history, religion, customs, institutions, and self-identification. Civilization in the history of people have no clear-cut boundaries with precise beginnings and endings. People redefine their identities by the composition and space and shapes of civilization and change over time. The cultures of people in the world interact and overlap with one another. The extent to which culture civilization resemble or differ from each other varies considerably. For the purpose of this lecture, the most significant contact between the domineering foreign religions from one civilization to another will be interrogated. The lecture argues that Nigerian ethnic communities were not passive recipients of Islam and Christianity. Rather, they have mounted persistent social, political, and cultural resistance to defend their indigenous beliefs and autonomy. The encounter between Islam, Christianity, as well as Islamic education among the Yoruba people has brought intense tensions among the two groups. The encounters and interactions of the foreign religions of Islam with the Hausa people have brought resistance against the belief system. For example, the Christian Missionary Society viewed the British concept of northern Nigeria as a divinely ordained event that will allow the gospel to spread the light of Christian civilization to what they saw as a morally and culturally backward region of the globe. The rulers of the region in the early years of the 19th century opposed missionary activity by persecuting, expelling, and killing missionaries and their converts. Accordingly, missionaries worked in partnership with the conquerors, providing intelligence support to the British forces and helping to complete the process of subjugation. Unfortunately, the British rule did not usher in unrestricted access to the Christian missions in northern Nigeria. In fact, the years that followed were marked by significant tensions and open conflict between missionaries, colonial officials, and indigenous rulers. Similarly, in the Yoruba town, oppression by imposing a blanket ban on the day-long Oro festival across Ijebuland. When some communities defied the order and attempted to hold festivities, they faced severe penalties, including heavy fines and imprisonment. The crackdown intensified in 1907 when colonial authorities issued an outright prohibition on drumming, a central element of indigenous religious practice in Ijebu society. This effectively rendered the tradition unsustainable. The introduction of foreign religions, particularly Christianity, profoundly shaped the Yoruba understanding of education, marriage, and social behavior. Christian missionaries arrived with new framework for religious doctrine, demanding converts to adopt an entirely different moral code and social organization. They dismissed indigenous beliefs as inferior, labeling them as fetishism, idolatry, or juju. Missionaries operated under the conviction that only the path of civilization for the Igbo people was the complete rejection of traditional rites, including the veneration of deities and spiritual ancestral spirits. Consequently, the Igbo individuals seeking education or healthcare from Christian missions, we are compelled not only to combat but also to actively dismantle their own cultural and spiritual traditions. This requirement severe ties with indigenous social structures and worldviews, effectively eroding communal identity beyond cultural transformation. The missionary agenda stripped the Igbo of their right to self-determination. As Logo argues, Christianity dominance systematically undermines the Igbo's freedom to practice their religion and preserve their belief system, leaving a lasting legacy of religious and cultural displacement. Furthermore, the influence of foreign religions also led to the foundation of new social practices that reshaped the Yoruba understanding of education, marriage, and the justice system. For example, the Christian missionaries introduced the concept of white wedding, celebrated in the church. Among the indigenous people, respect for the traditional marriage system way, as Western educated elites in Yoruba and Igbo society embraced the European practice as the right way of getting married, which also endorsed by marriage registry. Meanwhile, the influence of Christianity was further criminalized, the social behaviors of the native people by giving their child out in marriage based on child disposal, levirate marriage, and marriage by abduction, which were common practices before the influence and domination of foreign ideology. Civilization remained a subject of debate among historians. Yet, there is no consensus on its fundamental characteristics. Civilization is typically understood as an advanced culture marked by the development of urban centers and the capacity to support specialized goals to meet the economic, social, political, and religious demands of large populations. Key indicators of civilization include the system of writing, which emerged as a necessity to maintain records, monumental architecture, representing the transition from simple structure to sophisticated construction, and representative of art that serve not merely as liberating functions, but also a reflection of the people's identity and their daily activities. These elements are widely regarded as foundational to the emergence of human civilization. The intersection of culture and modernity holds profound significance for societal progress, as these forces collectively shape identity, values, and social cohesion, while simultaneously dividing communities through conflicting beliefs. On one hand, they offer individuals a sense of belonging, moral guidance, and communal stability. On the other hand, they have historically fueled violent clashes and discrimination between groups. Religious expression is inherently ritualistic, manifesting in standardized acts of devotion like prayer, worship, or purification. Right. These practices varying complexities across faiths serve as a symbolic bridge between human and divine. Crucially, religion does not operate in isolation. It intertwined with cultural frameworks, reflecting and shaping societal norms. Thus, the study of the dynamics remains essential in understanding both the unifying and the divisive potentials of belief systems in an increasingly modernized world. Culture forms the fundamental foundation of human existence. While religion serves as a dynamic force that shapes and responds to societal transformation, the historical introduction of Islam and Christianity to Africa exemplifies the dual role, while the frame values of civilization. These religions also function as instruments of conquest. Christianity in particular emerged not only as a spiritual movement, was also as a potential catalyst for economic upheaval, yet the religious influence remained paradoxical. It can empower communities while simultaneously being wielded as a tool of oppression and ideological control, diverting attention from pressing socio-economic and political challenges. In this lecture, culture represents the comprehensive way of life of people, encompassing systems of representation and communication that maintain a relative independence from economic and political spheres. As gets conceptualized, culture constitutes the collective inheritance of knowledge, moral beliefs, arts, customs, and technologies that have been transmitted across generations. This complex whole manifests in both tangible and intangible dimensions. The tangible aspect comprises of valuable material creations such as technological artifacts, industrial products, and crafted items like pottery, tools, and domestic implements. These physical manifestations represent the society's practical adaptation of its environment. Conversely, the intangible dimension include the implicit cognitive elements such as language system, philosophical framework, ethical codes, motivational structures, and value orientation. These concrete and abstract components from an integrated behavioral matrix that defines a society's distinctive character. Ultimately, culture embodies the totality of human creativity and social organization, a dynamic system of conduct that both reflects the shapes of collective identity. Its material and non-material elements work in concert to satisfy human needs while perpetuating the unique worldview of each society. This comprehensive understanding underscores the role of culture as the bedrock of civilizational development and the lens through which communities interpret their identity. Modernity in African context has been closely tied to the introduction of formal educational systems through Islam and Christianity, as well as through an expanded trade network and increased mobility since the 19th century. These foreign religions introduced new educational paradigms that serve as catalysts for widespread conversion, gradually displacing indigenous belief systems. The Western style schooling promoted and created new socio-economic opportunities by enabling converts to access wage employment as clerks, administrative officers, as well as civil servants. This effectively shifted from traditional occupational structures like farming to other types of occupation like civil service. According to JDYP, in the Yoruba context, modernity represents a comprehensive transformation marked by the decline of traditional festivals and the adoption of new norms through Christian and Islamic influence. This shift brought measurable improvements in public health through Western medicine, literacy through formal education, and expanded horizons through increased travel opportunities. And modern infrastructural development include piping water, electrical grids, road network, as well as mass communication technology like radio, television, and the new media, the internet. The modernizing process also introduced Western legal system through colonial education, along with improved healthcare that significantly reduced infant mortality and waterborne diseases. This complex interplay between culture, religion, and modernity reflects both the benefits and tensions of African encounter with European as well as the Arab and Islamic civilization. While bringing developmental advances, it also involved the imposition of foreign value systems and manipulation of indigenous cultural elements, creating an ongoing dialectic between traditional practices and imported modernity. The historical trajectory underscores how modernity in Africa has been simultaneously transformative and disruptive, offering new opportunities while challenging established cultural framework. The enduring legacy of this encounter continues to shape contemporary African society as they negotiate their place in an increasingly globalized world. The connection between religion and modernity in Nigeria was probably shaped by the introduction of Western and Islamic educational systems, which serve as vehicles of both literacy and economic transformation. Prior to this, foreign educational influences affected traditional education by emphasizing moral values such as respect for elders, community hygiene, popular upbringing of children, and agricultural skills, which are primary forms of education in the traditional society. But with the influence of foreign education or foreign religion, it brought about new systems that created a new system of education that was being practiced through Islamic and Christian Western education. Many families initially resisted formal schooling as it meant losing a crucial farm labor and placing children under the authority of schoolmasters. Missionaries and Islamic clerics overcame this resistance by offering incentives such as gifts, clothes, and promises of social mobility, which significantly contributed to mass conversions of Christianity in many Nigerian communities. Educational institutions became strategic tools for religious socialization, providing clergy with captains for audience for Christian and Islamic indoctrination. Both Western and Islamic systems of education promoted literacy as an essential tool for proper religious practice, whether it's studying the Bible or the Quran. Over time, Nigerian families came to value this foreign educational system, believing that they will bring tangible benefits such as improved communication, better healthcare, and opportunities in cash crop production. All these are here to improve the pathways of the standard of living of people in Nigeria. Christian and Islamic missions also introduced social welfare into their activities by establishing schools, hospitals, and rehabilitation centers for marginalized groups like lepers. Islamic organizations, on the other hand, also play a significant role in educational development by mirroring the efforts of the Christian missions. This dual focus on spiritual and material advancement helped to solidify the link between religion, modernity, and social progress in colonial Nigeria. Ultimately, the spread of formal education under religious auspices not only transformed literacy rates, but also reshaped cultural values, economic aspirations, and community structures across regions. Vice Chancellor, sir. Belief systems are integral components of human culture, shaping values, behaviors, and societal structures. This system encompasses religious, philosophical, and ideological frameworks that guide individual and collective understanding of the existence of morality and the universe. Across diverse cultures, belief systems provide meaning and purpose to life, offering answers to fundamental questions about creation of existence and human condition. As such, they often serve as both as a source of personal identity and mechanism for social cohesion, binding individuals together in a shared understanding of human world. Belief systems, whether religious, philosophical, or ideological, are not static. They evolve over time, influenced by historical events, cultural exchanges, and societal changes. The interaction between different belief systems can lead to syncretism, where elements of various traditions blend to create a new cultural phenomenon. However, clashes between different belief systems can also result in conflict and struggle, revealing the complexities of human interaction and ultimately lead to the understanding of belief systems as essential for grasping the diversity of human culture as they profoundly shape the way individuals and societies navigate their realities and forge their identities in the ever-changing world. The Vice Chancellor, sir, the tension between civilization paradigms emerges when religious belief, cultural traditions, and modern values came into contact, sparking profound social, political, and philosophical debates about Nigeria's diverse religious landscape. As teaching observed, the The interplay between indigenous African religions, Christianity, and Islam has significantly shaped Nigeria's social fabric and political dynamics. These clashes manifest in various forms, from competing worldviews to contradictory practices that challenge societal norms. Religious doctrine often collides with long-standing cultural traditions, creating friction within communities, while religion provides spiritual guidance and identity. Culture embodies and evolved practices of rituals and values of the people. The introduction of Islam to Nigeria, for instance, brought a comprehensive value system that permeated all aspects of life, from law and economics to personal conduct and ideal. Unlike Western paradigms that separate secular and the sacred domains, Islam integrates both spheres by governing public as well as private life. For example, Islam supported the idea of cousin marriage. It is allowed, but the Yoruba people say no, not in their lifetime, that they will see children of the same parents marry one another. So this is a clash of points of civilization. And that is one way in which Yoruba people resisted the culture of foreign religion of Islam in their society. A significant historical platform emerged with the competition of Islamic and Western education system. Muslim communities in both northern and southern Nigeria initially resisted Western education introduced by Christian missionaries in the 19th century, fearing it would undermine Islamic pedagogical traditions and reduce the adherence of Muslim practices. Islamic education served as the backbone of Muslim society, particularly in the north, by producing scholars, judges, and leaders who upheld Islamic ideals. Among the Yoruba, while it did not create an administrative class, it facilitated Islamic expansion by converting influential figures, warriors, chiefs, and royalty, as seen in towns like Iseyin and Epe, which became Islamic strongholds in the mid-19th century. Conversely, Western education arrived alongside Christian missionary efforts in the 19th century and continued into the colonial era. However, its adoption faced fierce resistance in northern Nigeria, where the Hausa people viewed the missionary activities as cultural imperialism. Attempts to establish Christian missions and Western schools in the north achieved limited success due to the opposition. This educational system became process for broader civilizational conflict, with each representing distinct values and visions for the society. While Islamic education reinforced religious and cultural continuity, Western education became a conduit for modernization and to some, cultural disruption. This historical divide continued to influence Nigeria's geopolitical landscape by reflecting on the enduring tension between tradition and modernity in a pluralistic society. Under British colonial rule, government deliberately restricted missionary activities in northern Nigeria, particularly among the Hausa communities, fearing the destructive potential of Western education and Christian doctrine. This policy, enthusiastically embraced by local areas, effectively banned Christian evangelism in Muslim strongholds, confining missionary work to non-Muslim areas like Jeba and Lokoja. This institutionalized segregation entrenched Islam's dominance in the north, while creating a religiously divided educational system. What time is life? The first conversions of Nigerians to Islam stem from the multiple factors of both religions presented themselves as comprehensive systems offering solutions to ethnic problems. While demonstrating doctrinal confidence, however, material incentives often motivated conversion, with many converts viewing the Bible and Quran as magical talisman rather than spiritual text. This perception reached dangerous extremes in northern Muslim communities, where alleged desecrations of the Quran sparked violent riots. The absence of written scriptures in indigenous religions created a critical disadvantage against the book of religion, while the native belief system maintained a subjugated oral tradition. they lack the tangible and codified authority of the Bible or Quran, making them vulnerable to marginalization. This textual disparity has facilitated the decline of traditional practices under pressure with monotheistic faith. Islamic influence radically altered Yoruba artistic spiritual tradition. Muslim preachers condemned the representational art of Central to Yoruba religion, particularly wood and stone carvings of Orisha deities. In cities like Ibadan, Zenith describes sacred sculptures including Erebeji, twin figures, and representations of Shango, Oya, and their Orishas, replacing them with non-figurative Islamic designs of Arabic calligraphy. This iconoclasm devastated centuries of old artistic culture among the Yoruba people. The relationship between modernity and traditional culture presents a complex web of tensions and transformation. As societies evolve, the forces of modernity, their emphasis on rationality, scientific progress, and individualism increasingly collide with long-standing cultural and religious traditions that prioritize communal values and spiritual continuity. This dynamic interplay has reshaped everything from economic system to human rights framework, creating both opportunities and challenges to communities worldwide. One of modernity's profound impacts has been the gradual erosion of traditional ways of life. Rapid urbanization and globalization have promoted many individuals to abandon ancestral practices in favor of contemporary lifestyle, leading to a troubling disconnect from cultural roots and potential loss of indigenous knowledge systems. This shift manifests in various domains, from clothing to language to ritual practices and social structures, often sparking conflict between modern individualism and traditional collectivism. The combination of culture and religion represents another consequence of modernity. In today's globalized world, marketplace, spiritual traditions and cultural traditions are increasingly packaged as consumer products. The trend is particularly evident in the rise of Pentecostal movements that market salvation and prosperity doctrines, sometimes at the expense of authentic spiritual experience. Such development risks reducing profound cultural and religious traditions to mere commodities, stripping them of their deeper meaning. Digital technologies have further complicated this landscape, while social media and electronic broadcasting provided unprecedented platforms for cultural exchange. They also facilitate the homogenization of diverse traditions and the spread of extremist ideologies. Nevertheless, many communities are demonstrating remarkable adaptability, crafting innovative synthesis of tradition and modernity. Some have developed hybrid forms of cultural expression that honor ancestral wisdom while embracing contemporary values. Others leverage digital platforms to preserve a data knowledge system and foster interfaith dialogue. The lecture titled Patch of Civilization, Culture, Religion, and Modernity examines the complex interaction between these forces in Nigeria, revealing both tensions and harmonies in the country's socio-religious landscape. Foreign religions, such as Christianity and Islam, have played a pivotal role in reshaping Nigeria's cultural and spiritual identity, often through educational systems designed to supplant indigenous belief systems. When Western and Islamic schooling, introduced by missionaries and Muslim clerics, propagated doctrines that frame African traditional religions as inferior, thereby marginalizing native spiritual practices. This ideological imposition has had profound consequences, unlike Nigerian indigenous religions, which historically emphasize tolerance, pluralism, and coexistence. The evangelizing nature of Christianity and Islam has at times fueled violent interreligious conflict among ethnic groups. Indigenous African spirituality, which never sought convert through proselytization, stand in stark contrast to the hegemonic tendencies of this foreign religion. The lecture challenges the Occidentalist and Orientalist notion that civilization was brought to Nigeria solely through internal religious influence. Instead, it posits that civilization is a universal human heritage. No single culture or religion can claim exclusive right to modernizing another. Modernity and civilization are distinct, evolving phenomena that manifest differently across society. For the arguments of indigenous African regions, Christianity and Islam are not inherently more modern. Rather, their introduction represents a cultural encounter marked by both resistance and adaptation. Nigeria's religious history is thus one of the dynamic exchange, the engagement between foreign and native belief. Native belief system has never been passive and rather a contested process of negotiation. This ongoing dialogue has shaped the country's religious diversity, demonstrating that modernization does not necessitate the erasure of tradition. Instead, Nigeria's experience reveals how societies navigate competing worldviews, blending old and new in ways that redefine both faith and identity in a globalized area. Ultimately, this discourse calls for a re-evaluation of civilizational hierarchies by recognizing that true progress lies not in domination, but in respectful coexistence of diverse cultural and religious expressions. Thank you very much.
Please let's give a round of applause. As the Vice Chancellor, former Principal Officers of the University, seated in the deputy. Professor, promoter of the water Islamic Therapy for well-being, Professor Frank Zaki, that establishing has taken out another good baby. At this point, one of some people to give comments, I have the permission of the Vice Chancellor, and the first person that will make the comments. Expected story. That's what we did.
The Vice Chancellor may be represented by the Vice Chancellor, Innovation, Academics and Innovation. I don't know whether to start on the existing people. I think it's safer for me. I think the day of living faculty. Well, I will not say that I'm surprised, but I will call to make some comments. But let me say that I'm highly excited not only to be here, but to have listened and to have witnessed this the first groundbreaking lecture from the Department of History. Professor Akin Abiola Eti, I have to congratulate you and commend you for this groundbreaking lecture. I'm equally happy that I've witnessed
enlightenment today. History and enlightenment today. Equally congratulate you. And I've said in our mind that what we have done today is more than the elected. Yes, we are all come here to witness intellectual battle. What we have done today is more than elected. It is a celebration of knowledge, celebration of culture, and celebration of excellence. Now let me borrow the expression of one of the music icons that we have in this country. Summarily, I would say, your face shine, your spirit shine.
Thank you so much, sir.
Please permit me to assign the job of comments to the distinguished professor of social, political, and moral philosophy, and the proponent of honor is life therapy, Professor Frank Ekema.
I am not supposed to speak after our living ancestor have spoken, but I seek your indulgence, permission to say this. And let me say that there is this very good reserved end of discussion. Some say discussion continue. Well, Professor King highlighted this paper is end of discussion. And why I said that, I acknowledge the fact that there is discussion continue. I want to inform this House that this paper is going to be the lead publication in one of the faculty journals, the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. It is the first paper, end of discussion. When it is published, the discussion can continue. If you have anything to say about the publication, you can now continue to say your own. But this, to us, is the end of discussion in the intersection between culture, religion, and modernity. We saw it, pure and simple. History have done this. The next masquerade to dance is coming from the Department of English and Literary Studies. I also know that there are other heavyweights in the faculty. They will dance in quick succession. We have very distinguished, respected professor in the Department of Psychology that will give us the faculty lecture. And another very distinguished professor, the head of theater art in this university, one of our celebrated professors who is standing in between English, literature, and drama. So that's Professor and Professor Shendra Faloko. They will give we are so strategically arranged our presentation in such a way that the discussion will always continue. Thank you so much for this.
Sorry, sir, still occupiers of the item. Please permit me to quickly take the last batch of my introduction for this morning. I'm looking at former Deputy of Engineering and Technology. He belongs to Center for Cement Technology, Professor Idea. I've been able to see the former librarian, Dr. Isaac, Dr. Page for Fulham to come and take the last comments. Dr. Page for Fulham. If you are not available, please permit me to recognize the presence of a very eminent person, Professor Isaac. We thank you for being part of your side. Ladies about talking to us. Now, please permit me to inform all of us that next week, Wednesday, we have another lecture. This one is a special one, the number of our lectures, which is the 11th semester of Personal University. Take place at the program of the Great Hall, and the topic is navigating the future of the university administration, imaginations, complexity, and excellence. Delivered by that erudite administrator, former registrar of the University of Dr. Mrs. Professor Oladipo. We are all invited. What is the one? Mr. Chairman, Vice Chancellor of the Lautech, represented by Professor Raul Bararo, other eminent occupiers of the meeting, technically up to the end of the session, we all up to the thanks to be delivered by our spiritual father, Professor Mahab Chazali.
Greetings and thanks to the Vice Chancellor, ably represented by EDC Strategic and Academic Planning Professor Raul Bararo. Other protocols will be observed. We thank you for your presence. We thank you for your love. And let me especially thank the father of the Kapot, Ibu Magadi, his appearance, Sheikh Professor Anthony Dede Akolabi for his interest. Thank you for your interest, and this is part of the results of your labor all the while. And being our able being for his drives, academic drives, and artistic drives too. Sometimes the study I think is getting too much wahala for us. It's not easy to use us to drive us, but tractor and trailer. But we are getting results, thank God. It appears he wants to make up for the years spent in general studies. This university has come alive with this lecture series. I think you cannot admit that. So thank you very much, our people. And professors here present are these
those here present. Well, the lecturer today from this department has done a great job, and I'm proud of him. You can see that when they say necessity is the mother of invention, you cannot have mother without father. Fathered by experience. That experience is history. I don't know whether you have to say. Necessity is the mother of invention. Sciences, technology, everything, invention. That is the mother of necessity. But fathered by experience. And that is history. History is the father of all disciplines. Great historians. Great historians. So thank you very much for your comment. Thank you. God bless